Most of us typically refer to the Chag of Shavuot as the Chag of Matan Torah, of Kabbalas HaTorah, the anniversary of the time when we received the Torah at Har Sinai. In the Torah's depiction of Shavuot in Parshas Emor, the Torah doesn't describe it as a Chag of Matan Torah, but rather as a Chag of Bikurim. The Chag when the first fruits would be brought from a person's house in Eretz Yisrael, from a person's field in Israel, all the way to Yerushalayim, to offer them to the Kohen, to give them, in a certain sense, to the Ribbono Shel Olam, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Interestingly enough, unlike many of the other mitzvot hatliyot ba'aretz, unlike Truma and Meiser and many of the other mitzvot that are limited specifically to Israel, Bikurim we don't observe at all nowadays. There are no remnants of the observance of Bikurim, be it Midoraisa, be it Midorabanan. In a certain sense, we really don't keep any element of the mitzvah of Bikurim in modern times. Nevertheless, there are many that have argued that Bikurim has profound symbolic significance. In particular, amongst the Hasidim, many suggest that what Bikurim really conveys to us is an idea of enormous significance. They suggest that the same way that Bikurim, the first fruits, are brought to the Ribbono Shel Olam, are brought to Yerushalayim, so too the beginning of any endeavor, of any undertaking that a person is involved in. So ideally a person should try and dedicate that to the Ribbono Shel Olam, to emphasize in the beginning of any endeavor, to do it in a way that's focused and infused with a certain amount of Kedusha. And for them, that's a profound idea that they think emerges from the mitzvah of Bikurim. Our first fruits and all the beginning of our endeavors are brought towards Ribbono Shel Olam. It may be possible to add one additional idea. The Mishnah tells us that Bikurim, Osa Adam Kol Sadeyu Bikurim, that while the first fruits a person brings to Yerushalayim, really a person has the right to make their entire field Bikurim. That while, to take the idea a step further, not only are the first fruits ideally supposed to be infused with Kedusha, but a person has the capacity to take whatever endeavor they're involved in and to try to dedicate not only the beginning, but really that entire endeavor towards Ribbono Shel Olam. That whatever a person does, that capacity to be focused on Hashem, to try and take what is a very unique and very special experience in whatever way a person's engaging in it, and to bring that close to Ribbono Shel Olam is one of the really powerful messages that emerge from Bikurim, and on Chag Shavuot is definitely an appropriate one to think about. Shavuot not only as the Chag of Matan Torah, but also as the Chag of Bikurim, to dedicate not only the first fruits, but the beginning of our endeavors, and hopefully our entire all of our endeavors, all of our experiences towards Ribbono Shel Olam. Have a Chag Sameach, a good Yantif.
Shalom, shalom everybody. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here sharing Torah with you. Ezrat Hashem, the next time we learn together will be in Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh. Shavuot is right around the corner, so I thought I'd share with you a very brief medrash and a message that you can take with you during this glorious holiday. The medrash tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu was up at Har Sinai, every day he would learn the Torah and he would forget. He would learn the Torah and he would forget. At the end of the 40-day period, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe turns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says, Hashem, I've been here learning for 40 days and 40 nights and I can't remember a thing. What am I going to do? Hashem turns to Moshe and he says, don't worry, I'll give you the Torah as a present. Shem Yishmael asks the very obvious question. If every single day that Moshe would learn Torah he would forget, what was the point of Moshe Rabbeinu being up there for 40 days? And if Moshe Rabbeinu was learning for those 40 days, why did he even bother learning for those 40 days? HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have just given it to him in one shot. Shem Yishmael explains very beautifully that Moshe Rabbeinu's presence on Har Sinai learning Torah for 40 days, even though he would forget it, was independently significant because it paved the way for Moshe Rabbeinu to receive the Torah from Hashem. Moshe learning and Moshe being exposed to the Torah, Moshe having the experience of Talmud Torah was important because it opened up Moshe's heart, it opened up Moshe's soul to be able to communicate with Hashem on that level. This idea is also alluded to in the Tanya in Perek Chet. The Alter Rebbe explains that the learning Torah is really the chachma of the seichel, the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we learn Torah, when we take part in the learning experience, we're not just acquiring knowledge. We're not just learning more things about our day-to-day life, but we're actually being exposed to the wisdom and the beauty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So on this day, as we're getting ready for Shavuot, we should not necessarily be focusing on the quantity of Torah that we learn, but rather focusing on the experience of learning in general. And that's what we celebrate. We celebrate not necessarily the nitty-gritty of day-to-day Torah life, but we celebrate the ability that we have to expose ourselves to to a very, very special facet of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chag Sameach.